Hi, everybody. RivkaLeah here. I hope everybody had a fabulous week. It's Friday. Beautiful here this past week. And I've had several people. I know I talked briefly last week about the topic of this week. So I kind of threw it out there like, hey, maybe hi, everyone. I thought maybe we could talk about it. And after I threw it out there, several people reached out to me with some stories about letting go and some of the things that they struggled with on the letting go. And again, I have all my notes over here off to the side. So yeah, let's kind of jump in. If anybody has any questions or wants to go over anything else, wants me to go in depth with anything, let me know. Just as a reminder, I know I released another podcast out on Tuesday, which is the day that we typically release them, out on YouTube and a couple other platforms. And there's still if you go out, my StreamYard website is the RivkaLeah Collective, and we still have a couple spots in the course available if anyone is interested in that, or if you want any coaching or anything, please feel free to check that out and reach out to me, reach out to the admins here, and we will get you all connected. If anyone's interested in the podcast, again, reach out. So letting go. I've had, like I said, a couple people reaching out to me with some of the issues that they've kind of been going through with letting go, and I have a couple different stories in a couple different areas, a friend situation, a romantic situation, and a work situation. And typically as individuals, we because we're caring about the people in our lives and we want to help them, so we kind of take on their issues, their crap, right? And because we don't want to see them suffer, we think it's kind of like a control thing. We want to be able to help them and take a little bit of the stress away from them, but in doing that, we relinquish our boundaries and we end up piling on stress into our own lives, and usually stress that we don't need, we can't afford to take on. And that leads to a whole host of other issues that we've talked about. The stress that brings the dis-ease into the body and all of that. So kind of like, instead of taking on people's issues, we can focus on our gratitude and be thankful for what we have in our lives and thankful that the people are in our lives, but let them own their own stuff. Don't look at all of the negative part of it, or don't look like it's your responsibility to take on somebody else's issues, right? So what do I have here? Right, I talked about control, because that is ultimately what it is when we take on somebody else's issues. It's a control issue for us, thinking that we can then help them. And typically that's a slippery slope and not really where we should be focusing our time and energy, because that's not really what's going to help them. And it gets in a little stickier situation when you're in a situation with a dark personality, whether it's a friend situation, a romantic situation, or a work situation. When you have somebody that is a dark personality, they kind of project onto you and expect you to take on their issues, and make you feel guilty for it. So that's one of the stories that I have coming up. So just keep that in mind. And I talked about, it's hard. We think we're helping, but it can bring us down. And it's exactly what can happen. We do think we're helping because the majority of people that do take on somebody else's stuff tend to be very sympathetic, tend to be very empathetic, caring. Like I said, these are typically people that are in your life for a reason. And, you want to be there, you want to be supportive. But there are ways to be supportive that you're not taking on their issues, because everybody has their own issues, right? Sometimes it would be awesome if somebody could take your issues away and fix them all, but that's not reality, because the only ones that really can fix our issues are us. So kind of keeping that in mind. I did talk a little bit about setting boundaries. By us taking on other people's issues, we're basically negating our boundaries. We're giving our boundaries away. So we should probably refocus on establishing those boundaries again, right? And not allowing other people to foist their stuff onto us and not accepting what they do foist. Okay. Because again, that's takes on the emotional component. And I actually said this to someone this week who is in a situation that the individual is kind of pushing their baggage onto them, and they're getting tired of it. They've reassured the individual, and the individual is not sinking in. And I said to them, the next step in this is resentment. If you can't stop taking on their stuff, it's going to affect you emotionally, mentally, physically, and then you're going to start resenting them, and then you're not going to want to be around them, right? So kind of like, once it hits that and you can recognize that it's hitting that, that's when we kind of step back, get back into our heart, give ourselves some grace for everything that we've done, be grateful that these individuals are in our lives, and set our boundaries. Say, you know what, I am here for you. I will be an empathetic listener and I will support you in that way, but it is not my responsibility to take this on for you. And let's see, what else do I have here? I think some people kind of confuse empathetic listening with taking on somebody's issues, because they're two different things. Taking on somebody's issues are somebody saying, hey, you're the only one that understands me and I need you to do XYZ. Empathetic listening is when they express that to you and you say, yes, I am here for you. I will listen to you. And that's my role in our relationship. I will listen to you. I can point you in a direction for you to work out your situation, but I am not going to work it out for you. Okay. When you set boundaries, how can you do it so it doesn't upset the other person or hurt their feelings when they are already fragile? Okay. So that statement is already owning somebody else's issues. Okay. Yes, we want to be sympathetic to somebody's feelings, and we do not want to further harm them in any way. At the same time, we need to understand our own feelings. So, in a situation like this, you bring out the empathetic listening and the empathetic speech to the other individual. Let them know that you are there to support them, to listen to them, and let them know that you can help them look for some resource, but ultimately they need to do the work. And when somebody is going through a difficult time, and the majority of us here have gone through difficult times, and we have been in that fragile state, in that fragile situation. And it's hard when someone tells us that they're not going to do something for us, because in order for us to actually heal and get past that fragile state, we have to do some hard work. And if the individual that you're in this situation with has a good, caring relationship with you, you're not going to hurt them. And if they say at the point that you are hurting them, that you're doing this, that's again them pushing their issues onto you. Okay. Because you're not doing anything. They are in a fragile situation, which you can be completely sympathetic to. You can be very empathetic to that situation, but it is their situation. And you can be there to support them, but ultimately they have to do the work. You can't do the work for them. And that's where setting the boundaries. And it can be an extremely difficult conversation to have, especially when that individual is fragile. However, it has been my experience, because I have had situations like this personally, and I have had to have that conversation with somebody where they were in a very fragile state, but they wanted to put everything on me. They wanted to make it my responsibility that they were feeling the way they were feeling, and it wasn't my responsibility. They're entitled to their feelings, but I can't fix that. Those are their feelings that they need to come to terms with. We can talk about ways to resolve them, but I can't control it. They have to control what is going on within themselves. I hope that answered your question. Let's see. And I talked a little bit about gratitude. Again, focusing on what you currently have, being grateful for that, and not looking at the negative. And again, in situations where we potentially are taking on other people's issues, a lot of times they're negative issues, right? Because that's what brings in the stress into our relationships, regardless of what type of relationship it is. It brings in the stress because we're owning somebody else's negativity. So be grateful for all of the good parts of the relationships, whatever type of relationship it is, and focus on those, and kind of let the negative aspects of it go. That's when you're, again, setting those boundaries and saying, I can appreciate that you're going through this situation, and you are welcome to come and talk to me about it. And I will be here to listen to you. That's it. I will be here to listen to you. It is not my job to take the negativity away from you, put it on me, and run with it and fix it. That's just not healthy for individuals to do. And by putting, again, focusing on that gratitude, and we talked about gratitude last week, it kind of puts things more into perspective. When you start focusing on more of the positive that's going on in your situations, and again, even if it has to be, I have great eyelashes. When you're focusing on that, it kind of helps alleviate a little bit of the negativity. I'm not going to say that it's going to take the negativity away, because that is hard work that we all have to do in order to face that darkness within us. If we're having a bad time or we've gone through bad things, it's hard work. If anyone tells you that it's easy and you can just snap your fingers one day and say, hey, I'm happy and you're going to be happy, then they're lying to you, because it's hard work. This is why on the podcast, I talk about coming from our darkness into our radiance. This is a journey that most individuals are on in some form or another, and it takes work. And I know I've talked about this on some of the lives. Sometimes we will backslide, and because fear and negativity is usually the path of least resistance, and it's easy to fall back into it. And why is that so? Because there's a lot of people in our lives that bring their negativity because maybe they feel that we're the safe space and they can kind of just dump all of that on us. But we need to, again, reinforce those boundaries, because regardless of where you are in your journey, if you've done some work and you're a little bit more healed than this other individual, that may be why they think you're a safe space. That may be why they want to dump their stuff onto you, because they see that you've already conquered a little bit and they don't want to do the work. They want the magic wand, right? They want somebody else to fix it for them, and that's not your responsibility. And again, with the gratitude, focusing on the positive, you get your resilience. It helps with the positive emotions. When one thing comes, then another thing and another thing. One of the other things that I also wanted to remind you about, and we do talk about this a lot too, is being mindful. Like I mentioned with this individual who came to me where they are getting to the point that it could start getting resentful. I said that maybe you should be mindful of what your reactions are so that you can, again, reinforce those boundaries and give your time the space, give yourself the space and the grace to pull yourself back together so that you can go back and be supportive in your listening, right? Your empathetic listening and not taking on their issues. Okay. And I talk about these in your relationships, and this affects all of our relationships, regardless if we're an entrepreneur, in our friend relationships, in our romantic relationships, in our family relationships, in our business. And when I say business, it could be your regular 9 to 5 job, it could be your entrepreneurial job. In all of these situations, whenever you're interacting with other individuals, you're going to come up against somebody that wants to put their issues onto you because it's just easier. Then they don't have to deal with them, right? Somebody else here, just take this, here's that, the monkey on your back. I'm just going to give you my monkey because I don't want to deal with him. Okay. Maybe I'm tired of my monkey today. I don't want to change his diapers. Here, you go change my monkey's diapers and you deal with it because I don't want to, but you're going to say, thank you. Your monkey's adorable. You can take care of your own monkey. I'm not monkeying around with your monkey. Okay. And let's see, what else do I have? Okay. So I have a couple stories. And again, I wrote these down. None of the names are actually names of anyone that I know, first of all, and they're not any people that I know. These are hypothetical stories, but they're general enough that I'm hoping that you can see a correlation that they kind of happen in most people's lives in one arena or another. So the first one I have is a friendship situation. And we have, who do we have? Who did I write down? I named them Sarah and Alex. Okay. So Sarah is extremely empathetic, and she is always the one that is there to, she's always seeking out friends. She wants to be that go-to person, right? She knows that Alex has a dark personality trait, and we've talked about dark personality traits a lot. They show up very frequently. They like to play the victim, and they have that negativity streak in them. So a lot of times individuals with dark personality traits tend to push their little issues off onto everybody else, right? Because they're manipulative, right? Typical dark personality trait, victim, manipulative. Alex, the dark personality, always wants to make it Sarah's responsibility for what's going on in his life. Sarah, because she's very empathetic, she genuinely wants to be there for Alex. And she's always offering to listen. And she's also offering emotional support, which, right, that's what I just said. That's your boundary. I'm here. I will support you. Okay. But after a while, Alex pushes more and more and more onto Sarah, right? He becomes more toxic because, like, as we've said, dark personality is about 3-month time period when their true personality starts coming out. So we're going to say there's about 3 months, and Alex is just foisting a lot of toxic energy at Sarah. And Alex has a lot of things that go wrong in his life, right? And why is that? Because he's a negative person. And when you put negativity out there, what do you get back? You get a lot of negativity back at you. So again, here's the same thing I said earlier. Alex says, you're the only one who truly understands you. If you leave me now, I don't know what I'll do, right? What is he doing? He's using guilt to kind of manipulate that situation, okay? Because he knows Sarah is empathetic. Sarah is caring. Sarah really wants to make sure he's okay. But now Sarah feels it's her responsibility to take care of Alex because he just said this to her. And it's not Sarah's responsibility to take care of Alex, it's Alex's responsibility to take care of Alex. So now, because Alex is manipulating her, Sarah is constantly stressed. She's constantly worrying about Alex because Alex is putting in some subtle language that he may do something bad, right? And that's how he's going to manipulate her. And so she starts losing sleep over it, right? She's trying to figure out how can she solve his problems when she knows that his problems are self-made, right? Alex has a lot of bad things happening because Alex makes a lot of bad decisions. So she is kind of stuck in that cycle of, what can I do? I need to fix this so that he has a better life because I really think he's a good person, but I can't fix it because it's not my life. And now Alex is saying, but you have to fix it because you're the only one that knows how to fix it. I don't know how to fix my own stuff. Only you know how to fix my stuff, which is not true at all. So that's one of the ways that a dark personality can kind of come into play and start manipulating you, playing the victim card and saying, hey, I have a lot of problems, but guess what? It's your responsibility to fix my problems, and you can't. So Sarah ultimately has the difficult conversation with Alex. And she says, Alex, look, you're a great person. I really want you as a friend in my life, but I cannot fix your problems. I'm here for you. I will listen to you and I will support you, but I can't fix your problems. And if you need someone to say, here's a phone number to call, then I can give you that phone number, but I can't fix your problems. You're going to have to do that work. So that's where Sarah ended up with that relationship. Alex was very upset. He was very bitter about it because he realized that he could not continue to keep pushing his problems on to Sarah because she was no longer going to accept them. She set that boundary. She set it very clear, and he moved on to finding somebody else to take on his problems. Okay. Second one, this will be a romantic relationship. And I named these people Chris and Taylor. I don't know any Chris's or any Taylors. And I didn't really write who was who because they're both kind of male and female names. So you can kind of take it with who you want who to be. So they are very much in love. They really, really care about each other. They enjoy each other's company. They have a lot in common. But Taylor has some emotional baggage and some emotional wounds that he or she has not healed. And they're struggling with them. So that leads to self-esteem issues. And Chris, who has done the work in their life, they've healed those wounds and they want to be here because they do truly care very, very much for Taylor. They want to help Taylor fix those wounds and to heal from them. But Taylor, struggling with the anxiety and the insecurity, even though Chris is there supporting them, letting them know how much they care about them, letting them know that they're there, Taylor, because of their unhealed issues, constantly questions Chris, constantly says, well, you don't love me like I love you, even though Chris has not done anything to show Taylor otherwise. So Chris believes that understanding and supporting can alleviate Taylor's insecurities and that will help Taylor feel loved. But that's not how Taylor's mind is working. Taylor still, because those emotional wounds are so deep, even though Chris is sacrificing their time and their energy being there, constantly supporting and constantly reassuring Taylor. Taylor still, it's not sinking in that Chris is there and loving them. So this is what happens. And I said this earlier too. So Chris starts to become, and by the way, this is not the people I was talking about earlier. It's a similar situation, but it's not the same people. Again, this is a hypothetical situation. No one that I know. So Chris takes on the responsibility, and it becomes a burden, and Chris can't get past it. Chris is taking on all of Taylor's emotional issues, and those are Taylor's issues. They're not Chris's issues. So I know as partners, they want to support each other, but Chris is so stuck in Taylor's insecurities and feeling responsible for Taylor's happiness, instead of saying, hey, look, Taylor, I can't fix that. You have to be happy within yourself and understand that I'm here to support you, but I can't fix why you're insecure. I've shown you everything that I can show you to let you know that you're cared about, to let you know that I'm here. But if you're insecure with that, then these are issues that you have to resolve. And that may entail Taylor seeking some sort of professional help so that they can resolve those emotional wounds that are going on, so that it won't start affecting their relationship, and then Chris won't want to leave. Okay. And the last one I have for you is about an entrepreneur. And now I've talked a lot about being an entrepreneur is hard work. If anyone tells you that it's easy and that you're going to make, thousands of dollars in a very short time period, they're lying to you. Okay. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of time, and a lot of sacrifice. However, that being said, negating your friendships and taking your entrepreneurial journey over the time you need to recharge yourself is a recipe for disaster. Okay. So in this situation, we have Alex and Jordan. So Alex is back again, I guess. I didn't realize I used him twice. So Alex is back. Alex is an entrepreneur. He is building his business. It's thriving. He's doing really, really well. And, his friend Jordan is there and he wants to support him, but he also recognizes that Alex can start to get burnt out. So Alex needs to have a little bit of time. Like I said, it is hard work being an entrepreneur. You are on all the time. You're just building and networking and everything you have to do behind the scenes. And if you're doing it by yourself, then it's a lot on you. But you have to resort to what have we talk about almost every week? Some self-care, right? We need to do a little bit for ourselves. It is great that we want to focus 100% on our passion and grow something. But if we burn ourselves out, we're not going to be good to anybody. Our passion project, our whatever business we're building is not going to continue to thrive if we're not thriving. So in this situation, Jordan sees that Alex might need a little bit of a getaway just to kind of recharge his batteries. He sees that his business is thriving, is doing really good, but he's working a lot. And the business is at a point where he can afford to take, a weekend and spend some time with his good friend Jordan here. So they set up a whole, getaway. They're going to go kayaking. I don't know. Let's make up what they're going to do. And they're getting ready to go. And like I said, Alex's business is doing really well. Well, one of his clients calls him and says, hey, you know what? We need this product. And it's not an emergency. They could wait until Monday. But Alex, because he has worked so hard to build this business, he takes it upon himself to say, well, I got to cancel my plans with Jordan. I got to focus on this issue with my client, even though His client never told him it was an emergency, just said, I need this product. Alex ends up canceling his plans to go kayaking with Jordan. Jordan is feeling very hurt. He's like, we need you need to decompress a little bit here and recharge so that you can focus and continue to grow this business. And you're neglecting our friendship, right? You never want to do anything with me. You make plans and then you cancel them. So Jordan decides that he needs to sit down with Alex and say, look, you're my best friend and I support you as an entrepreneur, but I don't want to see you get burnt out. So I'm going to ask you nicely and caringly as a friend to reach out to your clients, ask them if this is an emergency. And if it is, then I will say we will reschedule our kayaking trip. But if it is not an emergency, I'm going to say, if your clients are okay to wait until Monday, that we go on our kayaking trip so that you can recharge your batteries and then you can jump back in on Monday, provide all of these items to your client that they need, and you will do this with a fresh set of eyes and understanding that your business will grow that much more when you're recharged. He had this conversation with Alex. Alex got a little bit resentful because he was feeling attacked. And this is, again, somebody that's kind of in a fragile situation, right? Alex felt attacked by Jordan, even though Jordan did this in a very caring manner. Alex was not being grateful for the friendship that Jordan and he had, and he was playing the victim. So Alex was encompassing all of the negativity there. After, I'm going to have this one have a great ending though. After that little conversation, Alex realized that Jordan was coming from a place of caring, and he did in fact reach out to his clients, and they affirmed that it was not an emergency and that they were more than happy to wait until Monday. They had a great record with Alex's company. They wanted to continue to work with him, and they were just kind of giving him a heads up that they needed this order in the next week. So Alex and Jordan were able to go on their kayaking trip. Their friendship was able to, continue on and be rekindled. And Alex ended up being very grateful that Jordan was able to stand up and say, look, you're not taking care of yourself and you're not presenting this properly or putting yourself and our friendship in the appropriate space that it needs. So that's what I got for you guys. I hope that was helpful. I hope that you could see a little bit of correlation in how some of these situations might show up similarly in our lives. And if you have any questions, like I said, reach out to me, reach out to the admins. If there's a topic you want me to talk about, again, reach out to me. I have been having a lot of people, like I said, I have people coming in, I have coaching calls that I'm on. And, so a lot of these topics are things that I may talk to individuals about in our coaching calls, but I'm never going to disclose who I'm talking to, what they're talking about. And again, don't forget, I am not a counselor. I am not a therapist. I am not a doctor. These are situations of people just saying, hey, can you be here to support me? Can you listen to me? And that's what I'm here for, to support and to listen. And if you need professional help and you can't find it wherever you are, I'm happy to help you find that information to put you in touch with a professional. So again, if you want to consider the podcast, you want to consider coaching, please feel free to reach out to me. Go out to the website, look at the class. Like I said, there's lots of, there's availability in the course for people. And I look forward to seeing everybody again next week. So have a fabulous weekend, everybody. Cheers.